Well, good morning, everybody. Breaking news out of Africa. Malawi, part of the Commonwealth. Study used by UK issuing their endemic, trying to be first in Europe. But the reality is it's the Malawi research. So I've got all of it in its entirety, combed through it over the last few hours. I'm going to stay Omicron, complete study of Malawi. Most of the population has been through COVID-19 in the Omicron. Vast numbers. One of the original studies done out of Africa and that variant. It's game over, people. Any country pushing forward the pandemic at this point with that kind of analysis is on drugs. There's nothing else to say. There's no reason, with everything that's now released in its entirety worldwide, why Canada remains in isolations, lockdowns, face masks, mandates. It should now be an honor system. And until something changes, there is no reason to go forward in this narrative anymore. None of your politicians are talking about it. Not O'Toole, not Singh, not Trudeau. None of them. None of them. Why is that? Why is USA going through endemic? We have Biden leftovers trying to keep it alive, trying to force SCOTUS. When SCOTUS is ruled, it's game over. We have endemic data. I'm all about the data. I took my time. I had the time this morning, 2 hours to go through it in its entirety. It's game over, folks. Endemic. Samples of the population done over the last 2 months of Omicron as they let off first. Detailed analysis through Liverpool joint research, highly recognized in the world. Absolutely, UK is following it to a T. It's over. Endemic. Why is nobody talking about this in Canada? Why? It's called corruption, folks. It's called the need to continue the autocracy. Many world experts in law will tell you the gross violations of constitutions and continued abuse of power by autocratic governments and governments that would be autocratic. Joe Biden wishes for a unitary system. That's his major push. Not the United States of America as in all 50. He wants the United States of America. We don't have to be overrun in our ICUs. If we're going to remain in permanent socialism healthcare, then vaccination or not to be vaccinated comes at a premium, a cost. And that means if you don't want to be vaccinated and you end up in ICU, you should pay for that out of your own pocket. You shouldn't expect hundreds of thousands of dollars out of the taxpayer purse for you and you alone over a 6-month period of long COVID. That's ridiculous amounts of money. Easily solved if you want to remain in a socialism healthcare system. Now, this is not the same for the United States of America. I'm very sick of people trying to use other countries when you have absolutely no data, no credible research to bring forward anything you bring forward. It's called lunatic. And I'm going to give you the United States as it really is, as I spent tonight on the phone with a very highly respected American who is well in tune with the economics of his country. And I'm going to tell you, the budget for all of you, you want to look at a healthcare budget? Look at the United States. Nowhere near comparable to Canada. Not federally and not state versus province or territory. We spend an insane amount of money on healthcare. It is the number one source of all our tax source revenue. All of our business revenue goes into socialized medicine in Canada. The results of which are nowhere near for the money you spend per person per capita on the federal and provincial scale, anywhere near any of the two-tiered systems worldwide. You rank low, Canada, extremely low. For the bang of the buck, you're getting raked over the coals. No surprise, this is always the state of socialism. Always is. Now, Canadians love it. Doesn't matter, they can call themselves, I'm a real solid conservative. But you mention healthcare and all hell breaks loose. All hell breaks loose. People seem to think it's normal to invest nearly half of your source of tax revenue into healthcare. And still, many people don't have a doctor. There are huge lineups, long as long can be. Normal treatments that should be done within 6 weeks, or others within 3 months, often see 14 months to 3-year waiting lists outside of the pandemic. Let's not talk about any of that, though. That offends Canadians, especially conservatives. Self-proclaimed conservatives, sorry. Don't mention that. NDP will spend all kinds of money on healthcare. They will bankrupt the nation for healthcare and health services because we don't spend enough, even though per person per capita we spend more than most socialisms around the world. When you try to take the United States of America, to put it in perspective, ladies and gentlemen, they spend more on old age security and employment benefits than they do, and welfare, than they do on health care. And they have a tremendously better healthcare system because there's personal accountability there, meaning you don't just get to go to the doctor and it's all covered by the Joe Jane taxpayer anytime you want. You stub your toe, you go to the doctor. No, you will pay for that. Something like that can cost you about $800, $800 to get stitches in a toe. You stub it just to see a doctor. Now you can get employer benefits that cover that to limits, just like dental. That's how the United States of America runs. For anybody trying to compare USA to Canada, you're comparing watermelon to grapefruit. Totally different things. Not even close to the same. People don't want to address it. They don't want to address the number one expense in this country, the number one source of sheer abuse of the taxpayer in this country. And it never gets any better, it only gets worse. I dare you all to go look at the 2021 budget of the United States of America, and then go look at the 2021 budget of the state of California. Then go check out your 2021 budget of Canada in pie chart, everybody, in visual mathematics. I want you all to do that. Then I want you to pick the province you reside in against the state of California, the most progressive state. Maybe New York got a little bit on it in some ways or another, but California definitely is the most U.S. left progressive state in all 50 by a large margin, I believe, when I look at the data, when I compare all 50 states. You'll have to take my word for it. But compare your province in pie chart. It's really easy. 2021, your provincial expenses, your federal expenses in pie chart, and compare it to the state of California and the federal government of the United States, 2021. Just last year in the pandemic. You tell me. Then you can go on and go through all kinds of health related issues and see where Canada and your province stacks up versus California and the United States of America. And you will find it is more than half as much as we pay in Canada, no matter which province you choose. Because guess what? Newsflash, we all pay the same amount in provinces because of federal transfers and equalization. Go look at your education expense. You're going to be blown away that your education expense is nothing compared to the state of California, both federal and provincial combined. By an extremely large margin, the state of California will blow any province and entirely the Canadian government out of the water on educational spending. And you know what? Their budget is nowhere near in deficit spending, nowhere near anything like anything seen in Canada by an extremely large margin. Just the state of California. I will blow any and all economists out of the water. I would debate all day long, and I would use California, the most progressive state in the United States of America, to kick all your all asses in real economics, real published data, and make mincemeat out of the very extreme socialism that is clear and present in this Canada that is completely broken. Now, it doesn't come from communism. It doesn't come from Marxist-Leninists. They're an extreme minority in this country. Those parties don't do well. I know their home bases. They're from my home city, Edmonton, Alberta. They represent a small part of NDP, which is already a minority in governance in Canada, right across Canada. But what's interesting, everybody, is those Democrats out of California see more socialism out of the Crown Conservative. When you look at the history of just Alberta versus California, combined with federal Ottawa, it's the most socialist compared to the state of California, all on its own. Never mind any federal budgetary spending. And you know what you'll find, ladies and gentlemen? The deficit of California is nowhere near the astronomical deficits of any province you pick in Canada, or for that matter, the federal government. And this is much the same for 49 out of 50 states in the United States of America. 49 out of 50 states come nowhere near anything remotely close to any province or territory in all of Canada by an extremely large margin. You want to talk about socialist, progressive? I'm sorry, your most hardcore conservative Canadian is an extremely large socialist compared to any American you try to go against. Anybody who tries to compare USA and Canada is completely lunatic and out to lunch. You can't back up any of your stats in any real economics. Like I said, I gave you an easy challenge that anyone looking at pie charts, as easy as everybody's made it, should be able to pull that out. That's my video. If you don't get it, and you keep crying in your soup and saying, don't talk about health care, boo-hoo, you've changed, you're a socialist. I'm sorry, you're the socialist, not me. That's how it is. People can lie to themselves, even make up fictions and get all kinds of people behind it in strong majorities with loud voices, minorities with majority loud voices. But you're never going to convince average, everyday people who work hard for their living, who can look outside the box. They're never going to eat your big, extreme, large pie of shit. Many Americans understand this. It's funny how many Canadians have made fun of Americans over the years. But when you get into constitutionalism, that education system in America makes Americans great, whether they're Democrat or Republican alike. It's hilarious. Hilarious, folks. That's my video. Share, share, share. Take the challenge today. Pick your province. Grab the pie chart. Compare the expenditures. Then compare deficits. That's another pie chart all on its own. It'll blow you away. That's my video. Bye now. Enjoy your weekend.